Well, we've talked a lot about staying healthy here on the show, and that'll be part of our theme again here this morning. But there's some amazing work being done just south of us here when it comes to cancer research, and kind of a contrarian way to treat cancer that has been going on for over 40 years now and is really starting to gain some attention here north of the border. Rick Hill joins us once again this morning. He's a cancer survivor. We're talking about what's being done down at the Oasis of Hope.
Right.
And it's down at the La Playa area, just south of us in Tijuana.
Right on the beach. It's a beautiful building, 4 stories, sandstone, and the neighborhood is very nice. Our patients feel comfortable when they're not being treated to get out and get in the sun and walk the new boardwalk that's there. It's nice.
Yeah, well, let's talk about your experience first, Rick, because your experience goes back, what, 40 years?
Yeah, in October it'll be the 40th year, so technically 39.
You were diagnosed with a very serious form of cancer. Long story short, you're at the Mayo Clinic. You're not given much of a chance to survive for any length of time, and you decide to take a different approach. Why?
Well, Mayo Clinic said that they were not having much success with the chemos that they were using against lymphatic cancer. And they told me to bring my family in to say goodbye. So you can imagine how uncomfortable that is, who's going to get the gold watch and all that.
Right. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Who likes to even think about that conversation?
Then a friend of mine got a hold of me, and he said they're doing things in Mexico that are really interesting. That it's about nutrition. Maybe you should go. And they're using new things. One of them was called Laetrile. I think a member of your family used that about the same time.
My grandmother did. She was, and she went to see Dr. Contreras down there, the original Dr. Contreras. His son Francisco has carried on the work here now. And my family is very convinced. I know I talked to my mother about this recently, that had she have gotten there sooner, she might have made a full recovery. But as it was, she lived years beyond what doctors had told her she would live.
Yeah, when you think that I purchased 40 more years, it was a good investment. So, but
a little scary leaving the Mayo Clinic, which is kind of the gold standard here in the United States, and going to an unknown quantity at that point. But so much more is known now about how nutrition helps the body heal itself, and that's been a cornerstone of the Oasis of Hope, has it not?
It has, and in addition to doing things like Laetrile, they're now doing some really interesting and new things involving ozone and UV light.
Now, yeah, this is something where they're actually teaching certain cells to tattle on the cancer cells. I mean, isn't that one way of putting it?
That's exactly correct. I mean, in fact, one of the medical terms is finger-pointing cells, the dendritic cells. And as you see on the tape that's running there, that's that patient's own blood hanging on the rack, and it's been infused with ozone, which is activated oxygen.
Okay.
Oxygen on steroids. But it went through that. See that? What he's doing right now is he's laying that crystal tube in a UV light chamber, and as the blood goes through, it creates dendritic cells, which are the tattletales. And without those cells, the immune system, the killer, the T cells, the macrophages, the microphages, without those dendritic cells to point, they are blind to the cancer cells. They can't see it.
Okay, so this, again, is just another way of helping the body help itself.
That's right.
And activating systems within the human body that are capable of fighting cancer, but they need a little extra help. Now, again, Dr. Contreras is pioneering all this, but he's very open about the fact that he said the last time he was on here, if it turns out that chemo is your only option or surgery is your only option, they'll be honest with you about that as well. It's not that they don't believe in these things, it's just they believe in trying some of these other things that won't kill you in the process.
Yeah, their first rule is do no harm, and they are integrative, or as he says, integrative, which means that they take the best of all the worlds. If they use the chemos, they use the ones that are less toxic, and they use low dose. But this ozone combined with UV light is a fascinating way to fight cancer, and it's not legal in the United States because how do you patent ozone?
Right.
It's in the atmosphere. How do you do that? You can't do it, so the FDA is not going to approve it. And you got to go to Tijuana to get it. So there's a whole new Tijuana now where medical tourism is becoming a wonderful part of their environment.
Now, you make a nice offer for folks here because, again, there's folks are going to be, on the one hand, skeptical, but folks dealing with potentially deadly disease are usually open to many options once they're actually faced with that situation, just like yourself. You'll get them a consultation by phone.
Yeah, if they could dial the number that's on the screen, we'll be happy to take their medical records. And by the way, put those medical records of theirs in front of the same Dr. Contreras that your grandmother, the family, saw. And he's an oncologist, a surgeon. He was trained in Vienna. They will look at your records and come back to you with a treatment plan free of charge. No charge for that. And then we'll talk to them about financing, about insurance, about all the things that they're going to be curious. And we would just love to see them because it was such a good decision for me and your grandmother.
Yeah, so folks, just make the phone call. There's no obligation whatsoever in making
None.
this phone call. And again, you are talking to an oncologist. You're talking to folks that have been dealing with cancer and just looking at other alternatives here for years and years and years. And why not get as much information as you possibly can? And you'll send them this book as well?
We'll send them an ebook, Hope, Medicine, and Healing by Dr. Francisco Contreras and Daniel Kennedy. Again, at no charge if they'll just call us and chat with us. There's no obligation.
All right, Rick Hill, it's great to see you, and you know, it's always a pleasure.
Enjoy it.
All right, let's get folks healthy and give them some hope here. Oasis of Hope, right down just south of us down here. It's great to see you again.
Thank you.